Things are heating up in the studio today. Meet a local fire marshal. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on fire safety at this time of the year, and we're visiting with Battalion Chief Bruce Arnel. Good morning, Bruce.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming in.
I'm excited. I'm happy to be here.
You know, it's amazing when you think about so many aspects, of course, with Christmas just 2 days ago and all the wrapping paper and all the things around the tree and obviously fireplaces going and candles. It's just a crazy time of the year.
Yes, it is. Very active in the fire prevention community as well. There's a lot of things we need to watch out for.
And you all are thinking about those year-round, I guess, but at the same time, it's important at certain times of the year to really heighten the awareness.
Yeah, this is a time where it's unusually, well, unusual may not be the correct word. It's unique this time of year because there's a lot of decorations up, electrical decorations and things like that that can pose a hazard.
Bruce, real quick about yourself before we get into fire safety. Are you originally from the area?
No, my wife is. My wife is from Mullins, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm from Southern California. We met in the military.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Where were you all stationed then?
We met in San Antonio, Texas. And then from there, we ventured to Anchorage, Alaska, where we lived for about 4 years. And consequently, we ended back up in Myrtle Beach.
Golly. Now, what was that like living in Anchorage, Alaska, Bruce?
Alaska was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it really was. I'd go back there in a heartbeat.
Why?
It's just it's just the outdoors. You know, I mean, you're outdoors, and it's just so massive and expansive. I mean, everything is just beautiful. The weather's not that bad, actually.
Come on. In Anchorage?
The winters are not that bad. I think you have probably the winters are probably harsher in Michigan and Wisconsin than Anchorage. I mean, it was pretty cool.
There's a lot of sun out in Alaska, or
a lot of sun in the summer and a lot of darkness in the winter, and that takes some getting used to. But again, the winters or the summers make up for all that darkness.
I do want viewers to know that we do pay our power bill, and even though we're in the studio, you're wearing a jacket. It's pretty chilly outside at 7 a.m. on Monday, a couple days after Christmas.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
Yeah, it is. It's fascinating. You know, there's so many aspects of living in South Carolina, but of course, having grown up in Southern Cal, having been in the military, and you and your wife met in what branch, Bruce?
In the Air Force.
Oh, right.
We were both in the Air Force.
Okay.
Stationed in San Antonio.
And of course, as opposed to moving back to Southern Cal, you all decided on Southern South Carolina. What prompted that move?
Well, actually, we did move back to Southern California for a while. Where I was a police officer when I got out of the military, and I just, you know, my heart was here. You know, we'd been married at that time for about 9 years, and wanted something different. And I've always loved this area, and just we packed up and moved to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, when y'all got married, did y'all get married back in Mullins?
Actually, we got married in California.
Oh, come on.
Everybody came out to California.
No way!
Yeah.
Go.
My first experience in Mullins was it's a quaint southern town.
Yeah.
And me being from Southern California, I'd never been to that type of town before, but I was truly impressed.
Yeah, your Southern California was not like the South.
No,
not like the real South.
No, I'm more Los Angeles and Orange County.
That's right. Golly, Bruce. Well, our tower's between Mullins and Nichols. They're on Highway 76. So we are broadcasting right from. I get a nice Christmas card from the folks in Marion County every year for our tax bill over there. But that's a great area. Marion County is very exciting. And so y'all were there a couple days ago for Christmas.
Spent Christmas there with her family, as we do every year. And like I said, I love going there. I mean, we'll go to Mullins to kind of take a breather every now and then and see Grandma and Grandpa.
To get away. Oh, yeah.
Drop off the kids.
That's right. Now, listen to that. You just got that out. There's more than just you and your wife.
I have a little daughter, Madison, and we have a little dog, Chief.
Oh yeah,
those are our kids, and we have one on the way.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we have a little girl scheduled to be born in March, Lindsay.
Congratulations.
Thank
Y'all
you.
already decided her name.
We've got her name.
Oh,
we got it all down right now.
You know, we had a guest on the show a couple of months ago, Mel Tiller, who you may know, and he was talking about that aspect of, you know, he had his son's whole life planned out. Before he was born, he laid out everything. He laid it out into his teens. And then he had a daughter.
Yeah.
And then she laid his life out. And,
Exactly.
and you know, it's fascinating hearing him talk about that. And, of course, there have been some great joys in being a dad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get choked up every time I think of my daughter. I love her to death. You know, having a boy or having a son is, I think, a lot of men, you know, they want that boy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, she's truly the apple of her daddy's eye.
And Bruce, you're a big guy. I mean, viewers can't really tell sitting here, but you're like 6'3", 6'5". I mean,
yeah,
you know, I mean, for a big guy, and the first couple of years of your daughter's existence, I mean, she was a tiny little girl.
Yeah,
What was that like, being such a big guy, big hands, all that?
I was scared to death.
Yeah, scared you'd hurt her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I found out that they're very resilient, and she's a tough little cookie. You know, she does gymnastics now.
Oh, really?
But you know, she's doing back flips and back bends. But you know, when she was born, I was very cautious.
Oh yeah, all the time.
All
That's
the time.
Right. Yeah, someone told me about resiliency, and my daughter's everywhere. So I always wonder what she's going to get into, what she's going to break.
Oh my goodness, unbelievable.
That's an exciting time. Now, when you walk into a house, when you walked into your parents-in-law's house this weekend for Christmas, do you see fire safety? I mean, do you think fire safety? Do you point things out either quietly to your wife or to your parents-in-law? Hey, this is potentially a hazard, or do they have everything on P's and Q's when you're around?
Being in this line of work, especially being the fire marshal and in charge of the fire prevention division, that is something that is continuously on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't. But yeah, there have been times where my wife can tell that I'm kind of sizing up a room, if you know what I'm saying, and she'll just kind of give me a little nudge, you know, relax.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I walk into my parent-in-law's living room or their house, and yeah, I see things, and I'll point them out, kind of, you know,
in a nice way.
indiscreetly, in a very nice way.
Yeah. Or have Madison point them out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hey, how about go tell Grandma to, you know, take the extension cord from underneath the rug or something.
You better be careful. They may be watching now. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm always looking at stuff like that.
Right. Which is so important when you think about it. There's so many places you can go into, and of course you are, and you made that point, and of course we said Battalion Chief Bruce Arnel, but you're also the fire marshal, and it's for the city of Myrtle Beach. As you know, the bulk of our viewers are in the PD in southeastern North Carolina, but the same issues that the fire marshal is facing in Laurinburg and in Lumberton and Whiteville are being faced here in Myrtle Beach. And some of those big issues during the day for you, I mean, what are some of the big things you're doing on a regular basis?
Well, we're in charge of the fire prevention for the city.
Right.
But you mentioned the other fire marshals and the problems that we see and share. We are all in this together, and we do share the same problems, and we talk to one another. And I guess one of our biggest hurdles or concerns, if you will, is the lack of or complacency when it comes to awareness or prevention. And it's frustrating to us when fire prevention is sometimes put on the back burner, but it's our job to go out and get it on the front burner, if you will. And we have we've had a lot of success doing that with our fire inspections program. But everybody shares the same concerns.
So it is that aspect of a business isn't going to necessarily do the right thing until something bad happens to it.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. They're very reactive when it comes to fire prevention.
Right.
Not everybody, but by and large, people are very reactive when it comes to fire prevention, especially in the commercial side of it, because it costs folks money.
Right.
And when they see the fire marshal or a fire prevention officer come through the door, it's our job to show them that we're there to help them.
Absolutely.
And that we're not an adversary.
Like an insurance agent or others. I mean, the goal is to make sure and protect
Right.
you so that they don't have to have a big insurance bill. I mean, so
Yeah.
that you don't have to cut a big thing if you protect yourself and really monitor your building.
And there's an art to conveying that message. And that's something that I try to instill in my fire prevention officers on a daily basis, is that you got to be their friend, and you've got to convince them that you are there to help them.
Right.
But then again, there are times where you have to be the enforcer.
You also have to fine them.
Right, right. And it's unfortunate that happens, but it happens.
Well, you know, one of the things y'all have done, and Dan Semeni, I know, has been a great proponent of that, and so many other folks within the department, working so hard to really reach out to community leaders and other folks' businesses. And I don't know, you all have a business advisory council, or?
We have what's called the corporate team.
Okay.
It's something that we put together, 4 or 5 years ago. We're reaching out to the business community. We want to get them involved in what we're doing. We want them to know what we're doing, and we want them to help us. We want them to help us spread the word of fire prevention. It's been very successful. We have over 25 members on this team.
Oh, yeah.
And Fox 43 is a member.
We've been happy about that.
Yeah, and we're glad to have you. They help us, we help them. And one way we can help them, the business member, is we'll provide fire prevention activities at their place of business. Put a fire engine out front on a weekend or a weekday, and hand out pamphlets. Just do what we can to get that message across.
You know, one of the things that I'm sure you notice both, and I know you said before we started that your wife owns a photography studio, so she's out in the workforce and thinking about things, and obviously as a business owner, she's cognizant of certain hurdles that are out in front of her, or things she has to monitor. But as a fire marshal and the folks who work with you in the department, if you all go out and you see a violation, you have to bring it up. Is there ever a chance that a business can bring in a fire marshal to ask for advice about things they can do before being written up, or when you go into business, do you have to cite a violation? I mean, what can a business owner do?
We have, on several occasions, I've had people call me and ask that we come in and do a courtesy inspection. Right. And we welcome that. Yeah. And I'll tell the person, thank you, thanks for calling. And we'll go in and give them a punch list, if you will. Now there is that's a double-edged sword, so to speak. I mean, if we go into a business and they say, we find that they've got blocked exits or something like that, they're going to have to fix it. Right. And they understand that. Yeah. More often than not, it's new businesses, people that will be renting or leasing a new tenant space. Right. And they'll say, hey, we're going to go in and do an inspection anyway. And they'll ask us to come in and kind of tell them, lead them in the right direction.
How invaluable. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention, violations. If we do find violations, not only in that case, but in the routine sense, we do have a very extensive routine inspection program. Right. That will give folks ample time to correct a violation based on its severity. It might be an issue where they have to correct it on the spot. Right. But we're going to work with people to get them fixed up. Absolutely. It's not to spank them, but instead just to get them in line for the safety of everyone who goes through that building as well as who works in there. Exactly. Bruce, if a viewer has to get off to work right now, it's about 7:15. If they need to get out of here, what's the best number is there a phone number someone could call either in Myrtle Beach or a main number to learn a little more about fire safety prevention if they can't sit around right now? Myrtle Beach number 843-918-1192 is the main number to admin. Okay. And they can ask for the Fire Prevention Division. Okay. There is a state number to the State Fire Marshal's office. Right. It's 803-896-9806. Great. Yeah. And that's that can pretty much put you in touch with any anybody.
803-896-9806.
9806 and 9807.
Okay, that's great for our viewers in the PD. If they don't know their numbers in Dillon or Marlborough County or otherwise, they can call that 803 number. Well, you know, there's so many aspects. Of course, you got a couple of, not props, but a couple of very important things here. A vocal smoke detector for kids, as well as an example of something. Please, can you hold that up and give viewers?
Here. This is a new product that we're very excited about.
Right.
Vocal smoke detector. Children, for those of you that have children out there, know how sound they sleep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we've actually done some experiments with that over the years, and we've gone into people's homes. We haven't just barged into people's homes, but we've set up a program where we went in at night while the kids were sleeping, and we set the smoke detector off, and they just didn't even faze them.
Wow.
But then you go in and you add a voice to it, like a parent's voice,
right?
And you know, more often than not, they're going to get up. And this device here, you can record your voice.
Okay.
You know, Susie, there's a fire in your bedroom. Get up.
Get out. Right.
And you want to do it in a
strong,
an assertive, strong way.
Yeah.
Which is very, very nice. Again, we're excited about that. That's pretty cool.
Bringing that's something folks could even find out if they call the Fire Prevention Division?
If they'll call our office, we'll give them all the information on how to obtain this. Like I said, it's a new device,
right?
But how to get it, yeah.
You also have a former. Please share with viewers what else you've got.
This is a smoke detector, believe it or not, that was recovered from a mobile home fire some years ago.
Wow, and all this is?
This is actually the detector itself. It was hanging on the wall, and you know, anytime there's a fire, you know, the heat is intense.
Right.
And this you know, illustrates that. This is just melted down here.
Wow, that's right, plastic that's melted.
But it was working when we got it.
You're kidding.
That's the most important thing, yeah. Smoke detectors in the home can save your lives. They have saved lives. Yet they're the most neglected piece of equipment in any house.
I bet.
And I take that around to show people that, you know, how important it is to have one and how reliable they are.
Bruce, I'm sure you go into houses all the time and you'll see the little battery taken out, or you'll see it propped out as if it had been removed because I guess the battery got low and it just rang continuously, so they took it out. I mean, again, you go into a house or you go into a business, you recognize things in a business on a regular basis, but when you go into a house, it's more difficult probably to bring that person in line because, as you said, you've got to be really easy and, hey, honey, this is really an issue you need to think about.
The homes, you know, we have jurisdiction in multifamily dwellings, and that's not just me in Myrtle Beach. That's any fire marshal in the state or in the country, for that matter.
Right.
But we are asked to come into folks' homes, single-family dwellings, on a complimentary basis, and we'll go in, and what we find is, like you said, you know, the battery is taken out of the smoke detector, you know, and that's a problem. And among a lot of other things that we find, but the smoke detectors are very important to maintain and to have. I mean, we go into homes and, you know, they don't have smoke detectors. So we've got a program where we'll even give you a smoke detector if you can't, you know, get one yourself.
Wow, Bruce.
And that's something that we're real active in.
That's for the city of Myrtle Beach, right?
Yeah, and that's Horry County.
Right.
I believe Marion County and others do the same thing.
Good. Let's break down different parts of the house for viewers sitting in their living room right now. What are some things as they're looking at you and listening to you right now? What are some things that they can look around the room and try to be sensitive to? And then maybe we can go in a couple other rooms, in their bedroom, in the kitchen, and
that'd be great.
But sitting here in the living room, as they're listening to you right now, they can be looking around their room and looking for some of these telltale signs of things they may need to check on.
Living rooms, I would think, I know, electrical cords, extension cords, lamp cords that are improperly placed. A lot of people will run lamp cords and extension cords beneath carpets. Which is a fire hazard because of the friction that the carpet causes on that cord can potentially wear the insulation around the electrical cord off, and you have a short, and then you have a fire. Windows that may not operate properly, that's any room of the house, and I'm going to mention that in every room, but you want to make sure that your windows, you can operate your windows. And that's for that person that might be sleeping at night and have to make a hasty escape.
Right.
You want to make sure you can get out of that window. But the living room, I would say the most prevalent things in the living rooms are misplaced electrical cords and overloaded surge protectors behind maybe an entertainment center. I've investigated many fires that have been caused by overloaded surge protectors, which overheat.
Wow, Bruce.
Yeah.
I assume most people would think that's what they're there for.
Yeah, I mean, they'll load them up with transformers and such, and they'll overheat and cause fires.
Wow. Of course, that aspect, you always think about, I think you talked about earlier before we started, curtains and draperies over close to lamps or otherwise.
Depending on the type of appliances that you may have in the house. I think you'll remember years ago the torchiere lamps or the torch lamps. They're still out there. People will get those lamps too close to drapery, scenery, and the plants and such. Those things put off a lot of heat. Can be potentially dangerous.
Bruce, how about if someone got up now and went into the kitchen? What are some things that they need to be looking for in the kitchen that would particularly jump out at them?
Housekeeping around the stove. Naturally, that's where the heat is. We have a lot of kitchen fires statewide. You want to make sure that you don't have any grease deposits or anything like that around your stove. Again, extension cords. The kitchen is the place where the fire extinguisher needs to be. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be next to the stove. You don't want it next to the stove. You want it accessible. Again, because the kitchen is where the heat is. I would say, well, we talked about the stove,
right?
The cleanliness of the stove.
So oftentimes, not to cut you off, I was thinking about it when Gary was with us. He pointed out oftentimes that a lot of people will put their fire extinguisher under the sink.
Right.
And then one of the other things is if they have little kids in the house, oftentimes what else is under the sink are things that they want to keep away from. So they'll put those little locks on there that you got to be fidgeting with. I mean, so there's a lot of little issues that pop up. He said fire marshals and folks like yourself tell them that all the time. These things are locked up there and they're below the sink. What can a viewer do, and where's the best place for them to have a fire extinguisher?
Well, you want it near an exit, if possible.
Why is that?
Well, because a lot of times, the code addresses having a fire extinguisher near an exit, because if you have to make an escape, you're going for the extinguisher that's near the exit. A lot of times, by the time you get to that extinguisher, the fire may be too large for you to control, and you've not putting yourself in danger by blocking that exit. You don't want to put yourself between the fire and an exit.
Right.
Does that make sense? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Sure. No, I see that.
There's a lot of people out there that aren't going to want to hang a fire extinguisher on the wall in their kitchen. I know my wife would be a little upset. Hey, honey, let's put it right here. If you've got a broom closet or a utility closet of some sort that's just off the kitchen,
right,
or maybe in a hallway somewhere, that's perfect. But wherever you put it, you want to know where it's at. It needs to be accessible.
Bruce, for folks, obviously in our viewing area, we just got a couple of minutes. There's a heck of a lot of smokers. For a smoker, what are the most important, what would be the top 3 things that you would need them to know, both at this time of the year as well as year-round?
Number 1, don't smoke in bed. Right. Very, very dangerous. I advocate not smoking in the house at all, but I know that's not realistic. Safely dispose of your spent cigarettes. Make sure you're putting them in an ashtray and you're extinguishing them properly. And do not throw them into a garbage can immediately after smoking. Properly discarding the cigarettes and not smoking in bed are two biggies.
You know, folks, I'm sure, ask you that all the time,
Yeah.
particularly when you're talking to youth and otherwise. What's that aspect about being a fireman, Bruce? I know you talked before we started. I mean, you've got an 8-year-old daughter. You've got a daughter on the way. You're putting yourself in danger all the time.
I think, when I was younger, the excitement about being on a fire engine and fighting fire was one aspect. That's really what kind of drew me to it, the excitement. As I get older, again, I've moved into fire prevention, fire investigations. Now I'm wanting to prevent them, not mainly fight them. I want to prevent them. My priorities have changed. I've got children, and I think as we get older, our priorities change. But firemen are people who care about other people, want to help somebody. And a lot of them are adrenaline junkies. But it's the fact that we can actually get results. I can tell somebody to, give somebody a fire prevention tip or go into a business, and, we've helped somebody.
And see it happen.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Bruce.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Stay
thank you.
seated a second. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Bruce Arnel coming up next. You heard him get choked up as he's thinking about his daughter. You could see it as he's thinking about his daughter. He may not get choked up when he's thinking about everyone out in the viewing audience, but he could. If he had a chance to make a difference in your life, he could get choked up. You got to give him a call, 843-918-1109. It's taking that extra effort on our part, whether it's viewers or business owners or businessmen and women in the community. It's making that effort to reach out to your fire marshals, to the fire prevention department within the fire department closest to your home, closest to your business, whether it's in Laurinburg or Lumberton. We didn't get to talk about that aspect of Myrtle Beach getting the ISO rating 1. There's 48 departments in the country that pull that off out of 300-some thousand. Think about that aspect. But we did get to learn one of the reasons why. It's folks like Bruce Arnel, Dan Semeni, and so many others on a regular basis who are constantly reaching out in the community. It's that moving aspect of walking into a house and recognizing issues. But what's it for? It's about saving lives. It is that potential adrenaline push. It's that rush that goes through you. But why is that happening? It's those same neurons, those same body aspects that are making you get emotional about a daughter, about a child. It's getting emotional about you. Make that call, 843-918-1109. They want to help.